This Song Surgeon Weekly tip will cover how to precisely set looping points, markers, and edit selection areas. And a brief description of how to do that is that you need to use both your eyes as well as your ears. And perhaps the best way to do this is simply to show you. So let's go ahead and do that. I have a song queued up, which is a Rascal Flatts song called Fast Cars and Freedom. Let's go ahead and listen. And as we listen, and as we, let me back up a half a step. As we listen, we're going to be listening for the start of a small guitar intro in this song. And so as we listen, and when we reach that guitar intro and we hear the guitar start to play, we're going to click the start button here, and that will set a starting loop point. And then we'll continue to listen until we hear the last of that guitar intro, and then we'll click the end button, and that will set the ending loop point. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're listening for the start of the guitar, this little guitar intro. And I clicked the start button because I heard the guitar start to play, and we've set the beginning loop point here. Let's go ahead and continue to let it play, and let's listen for the ending of this guitar intro. Okay, so the guitar intro is stopped, and I've clicked the end button to set the ending loop point. So now we have this area approximately defined based upon listening with our ears. So the next step then is to move the progress indicator back to the center of this area that we've defined. And I'm going to zoom into approximately 20 seconds of wave data. I'm going to move it here onto the screen so it's centered. And now let's take a look at what we have. Well, one thing that seems to jump out at me is, if I go back here to the beginning, there's a fairly significant change in the wave data right here in this area. So my guess is that that is where the guitar actually starts. So let's move the progress indicator back to just around 7 seconds, and let's take a listen. And indeed, what I hear is the guitar starting right here with this increased amplitude in the waveforms. So I can simply grab a hold of this beginning loop point, drag it back, and now we have it much more precisely set. And it's set right at the beginning of where the guitar starts. So that was pretty easy, and as you can see, in this case we were able to use our eyes to more clearly define where the beginning loop point should be located. Now let's grab a hold of this and drag this a little bit over here, and as I look here, I don't see the nice delineation that we had on the front end showing where the guitar solo ends. So we need to take a listen to this probably several times and make sure that we have this about where we want it. So we're still going to be using our ears a lot more in this particular case. Okay, it's jumping to the beginning because we have a loop point set. So I'm going to move this back here to about 21. Let's take a listen. Okay, again, I've listened to this enough that I can hear where this ends, and I'm not quite there yet, so I'm going to adjust it a little more. Again, one more time, let's listen. I have refined this, I think, closely enough that it will serve the purposes for what I need it, which is that if I want to learn this particular guitar intro, I've got it defined. If I wanted to copy and paste, I could do that as well. The last thing to say is that regardless of whether you're setting loop points, which is what we did here, or whether you're setting markers or trying to select an edit area, I would do it the same in all three cases. Once we have it defined as we have on the screen now, then if you were wanting to set a marker, you could simply click right above it and set a marker. Same way over here. And then the other alternative here that you might want to do is to select an area for editing. And again, since you've defined it fairly accurately. You can simply hover your mouse now over where this beginning loop point is, hold down on your left mouse button and drag, and now you've selected it, and drag it right to the ending loop point and then let go. And that gets us pretty precise. Now, one other thing we can do if you need to be spot on accurate is we can zoom in even further. Let's zoom in to say 2 seconds. Let's go into 1 even. So you can see that this marker isn't as precise as what I thought it was. And similarly, if you look at this selection here, it's slightly beyond the beginning loop point, so I can adjust it. Once that's done, let's jump to the end and take a look at what we see. We see that the marker is not quite as precise as what it may have looked like initially, but it does look like the area selected for editing, which is this area that has been highlighted in this dark blue purple color, is spot on accurate, so we don't need to move it. So again, by zooming in even further, you can more precisely refine and set these loop points or markers or selection area.